So you can share some of your attracted feature. Yes, anyone?
Ma'am, is it the preface, ma'am?
I'm maybe let's take an example of the graphics, or maybe even in
Ma'am,
any yeah.
ma'am, the tools, ma'am, there are many tools. Map.
Map tools. Okay, good. So you just attracted to that navigation Google Map apps. Good. Okay, so and also I'd like to tell we are going to design an location based app also. Yes.
Ma'am, I didn't say map tools.
Then.
Ma'am, I was referring to like drawing tools, ma'am. There are many tools.
Oh, okay. So in drawing app. Okay. You're telling that erase and color picker and those things, right? Okay, no issues. We will be teaching those things also in beginners level. And coming to today's session objectives, we are going to have a look at the designer and block window of the MIT App Inventor tool and explaining its different sections. Along with that, we are going to have a brief description about all the user interface components in the designer window of MIT App Inventor tool, as well as we are going to learn how to correctly use the components, design the components, as well as design the block section for the audio and visual application. Here the audio is going to be your own voice clip, and for visual we are going to use your own image. So before creating any apps, it is mandatory to understand some programming basics. Okay, these are all simple programming basics which won't be very complex to understand. Usually, what we'll be doing is for app creation and all, people need to learn the coding language like Java and Kotlin. They have to write lines and lines of code. But whereas here, no such thing is going to happen. We are simply going to drag and drop the block structure. But for that also, we need to understand some programming basics, right? So first let us discuss about the variable blocks. The name variable itself denotes something that is going to vary. It is not constant, right? So here the variable blocks looks similar to this. You can see in the viewer screen that it is an orange colored block. It is basically used to store some information, store a piece of information using the blocks. And also there are two kinds of variables. One is a global and second one is a local variable. So for example, here you can see I'm initializing a variable called a, and since I mentioned it is used to store some data, so this particular variable called a is going to store the data called numerical value of 5. So we can assign this variable in two ways. One is a global and another one is a local. What is the difference is when we assign any variable as global, that particular variable can be accessed anywhere in the block. So when we are designing complex applications, it involves lots and lots of blocks. So when we assign that variable as global, that variable, let's say for an example here, I have assigned a. So this a variable can be accessed in any of the blocks we are creating. But when I initialize it as local inside any particular block section, it will be accessed only inside that block, but not anywhere outside, right? So when we design the application, you will get to know more detail about these variable blocks. Next is the operator blocks. It is totally similar to your mathematical operations. The very first one, you can see the arithmetic operator, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication. For multiplication you will be using this asterisk basically in computer, and slash for division. Here for example you can see I'm going to add the numerical values of 2 and 3, so I'm using the arithmetic addition block. And for subtracting any values, I'll be using the arithmetic subtraction block. Similarly, we have arithmetic blocks for all the arithmetic operations. So when you are designing any calculator based apps, at that time we can make use of these arithmetic apps. And coming to comparison blocks are basically used to compare the value on left with the value on right. Here I am going to compare whether the value 1 is lesser than 2, and in the second example I'm going to compare whether the value 3 is greater than the value on right hand side which is 2. So for comparing any two numerical values or even some text, we can make use of this comparison blocks. And coming to logical blocks, we have three different logical blocks, which are and, or, and not. These logical concepts are much more important in app designing or anywhere when you create some programming in computer. These logical things are going to come. So this is most important thing. So when we want to compare more than two values, using for comparing two values, we can make use of the comparison blocks. But when we want to compare more than two values like 4, 6, and 8, at that time we can make use of the logical blocks. Here you can see only we are going to have an example about and or block alone for now to get a good understanding. So see here and blocks. What is the difference between and or block is that for unblock, both the values specified on left hand side and right hand side must satisfy. Only then it will proceed to the next line of statement. Otherwise, it will not proceed to the next statement. It comes out of the block. But whereas for OR block, the name itself implies any one can be done. Any one can satisfy. So for example, see here unblock I have given 3 is greater than true. Is it true or false? 3 is greater than 2 is true or false?
True, ma'am.
True. And similarly, 3 is lesser than 4 is also true. Both the conditions satisfy, both the conditions are true, and hence it the condition proceeds to the next line of statement. Whereas coming to our block, here on the left hand side we have 3 is greater than 2, which is true. And on the right hand side we have 3 is lesser than 2. This is false. So in such case, any one condition is true, then it will proceed to the next statement. So when we want to compare more than two blocks, basically we will be making use of the logical operators. And coming to conditional blocks, these are used to perform action under certain
Have a doubt.
conditions. Yeah.
Ma'am, in the comparison block, only this should be larger and equal and
No,
lesser.
for example, I have specified two examples, that is lesser than and greater than. We have many such options like equal to, lesser than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and not equal to. We will be when we proceed to various sessions, we will be making use of all these comparison blocks, right? So you will get a clear idea about all the blocks. Right now, for example, I have used only two. Since I don't want to go more theoretical, when we go on with some practical knowledge, we'll gain all these things. Don't worry. So now coming to conditional blocks, these are used to perform action under certain conditions, and they look like this. We have if then else, and nested if blocks. So if something happens, then do this. This is the this is like a formula. If something happens, then do this, or else do this instead. This is how we are going to specify the conditional blocks. For example, so here I have initialized a global variable called mark and assigned a value of 0 to it. So what I'm going to do is, if the candidate's mark obtained is greater than 40, then I'm going to display that result as pass, or else I'm going to display the result as fail. So this is how we are going to make use of the if then and else block. For example, if I want to use like if the first class distinction, some more details, at that time I can make use of the nested if blocks, which has if then and else block. So if the candidate's mark obtained is greater than 80, then display the result as distinction. Greater than 60, display as first class, or else display just pass. Like that we can add n number of else ifs to this if then else block. In this way we can create a conditional block, right? So coming to event handler, so the previously what we have seen, that is those conditional, variable, and operator blocks are going to is common for all the programming languages. But what we are going to learn hereafter is specifically exclusively for the MIT App Inventor tool. So the very first thing we are going to learn is the event handler blocks, right? This is used to trigger the action when any input is given. These are basically yellow in color. So let's say for an example, when the button is clicked, I want to play the sound file. When the or even when the button is clicked, display this image. When this button is clicked, when the player button is clicked, play some audio file, play some video file. Video player button is clicked, play the video file, like that. We are going to, it is going to trigger some action, right? When that button is being clicked, we have not only click option, we have n number of options like long click, got focus, and lost focus, or nothing, but we'll be seeing it in detail in text box things. So we have a touch down and touch up, that is pressing and releasing of the button. So not only we can use the simple click option, we have n number of options to be programmed. So here, for example, when button is clicked, I want to play a sound file. This is how we can make use of the event handlers. And coming to getter and setter blocks. So getter and setter blocks, the first difference is you can see these are light green in color and dark green in color. So here it is, getter blocks are used to get the value of a property when you are creating an application. Okay, during the runtime, the user has installed the application. Now the user is opening the app and he is using that application. At that time, during the runtime of the application, it is going to get the input from the user. That is, the user is going to give some information like, okay, select your favorite color. It is asking select your favorite color, so the user will select blue or black, any of his favorite color. So it is going to get some information. For getting some information, we will be making use of the getter blocks, whereas the setter blocks will be used by the programmer itself. Like during the development itself, I'm going to decide the background color or font size or text color. Everything is going to be predefined. So I'm going to, as soon as the application opens, I want to set the background color of the button to yellow, set the font size to 20, set the button's text color, that is like play button, start button, that text, we have some text inside this button, right? Start or play or stop. So set the text color of the button to blue. In this way, the programmer is going to predefine the properties, right? This is the basic difference between the getter block and a setter block. Clear with the getter and setter block? Any doubt so far with the event handler or getter or setter blocks?
No,
If you
ma'am.
cannot understand anything, you can just unmute and speak, right? So coming to procedural blocks, these are used to perform a function or even a set of instructions. Inside this procedural block, I'll be giving a set of procedures to be followed. So that we have two different types of procedural block. That is, one is not going to any return any result. It will simply go to that block, perform the set of instructions specified inside this do block, and just goes to the next block. But whereas this procedure with the result block, what it will do is it will calculate something, give out one value as a result. It can be in text, it can be in numerical format or anything. So that is the basic difference. It is going to return one output, whereas this do block is not going to return any output. It is simply used to perform a set of instructions, and they are always purple in color. So here, for example, I have initialized a variable called radius and assigned a value of 20 to it. I am creating a procedural block to calculate the area of a circle. Can you tell me what is the formula for calculating area of a circle? What is the formula for calculating area of circle?
Ma'am, I didn't learn it.
Sorry,
Ma'am, I didn't learn it.
you didn't learn. Okay, anyone who has learned can tell, right? What is the formula for area of circle? Pi r square. Good, Ramya Ramesh. So that is the correct answer. Pi r square is the formula for calculating area of circle. So in order to do that, what I'm doing is I'm going to square the radius value to the power of 2. So this is the exponential symbol used for calculating the powers. So I'm going to square the radius. Here, radius power 2. So if you want to find cubic values, you can simply give the numerical value as 3. So here, for calculating area of circle, it is radius power 2. First, what it will do, it will go to this block, power the radius value, square the radius value, and then multiply it to the default value of pi, which is 3.14. So at the end, it is going to calculate the area of a circle and going to return us with some value, which is the area of a circle. So this is how we are going to make use of procedural blocks to do some set of instructions, right? So now moving on to the designer window. So as I mentioned earlier, in MIT App Inventor tool, we have two windows where we are going to design our application. Designer window is the place where we are going to design the look and feel of our application. Here we have four different sections. One is a palette section, second one is a viewer section, third is a component section, and the last one is the property section. So under palette section we have different components available like button, checkbox, different user interface components, and drawing and animation components which can be used for designing a game app. So if you are creating a map based app, at that time we have various components like map tools, marker tools, and everything. So this contains all the tools required for creating the application. And whereas the viewer window, it contains a screen similar to the mobile screen. So here we can simply drag and drop the components and arrange it as our wish. And coming to component section, whatever components we have dragged from the palette window and dropped into the viewer window will be arranged in hierarchical order under the component section. Here we can rename the components so that, since in some application we may be using more than one button, like two buttons, three buttons, we'll be adding n number of buttons or n number of same components, right? At that time it will be confusing in the block section, like for which button I am going to program this kind of this sort of instructions and all. At the time we can rename the components, like okay, this is the start button, this is the stop button. So when we rename it under component section, it will be helpful for us in designing the blocks. And coming to properties, this is similar to the when we are when you're familiar to MS Word or Paint, you will be it will be easy for you to access these properties. This is simply because simply we can change the image colors, like font size, bold, italic. So for changing all the properties of the component, we can make use of the properties window, right? So this is the designer window of MIT App Inventor tool. And coming to blocks editor window, as I mentioned earlier, we have instead of writing lines and lines of code, simply we are going to drag and drop the blocks, right? For dragging and dropping the blocks, we are going to make use of the blocks editor window. So before in designer window, we are going to design the application. That is no programming part involved in designing application. We are simply going to arrange the components in designer window, drag some components, change its properties, change its font size, color. So simply we are going to design the components, whereas in blocks window alone we are going to program. So what must happen when this button is clicked, when this thing is done, so like that we are going to program in the block. That is the software part is going to come in the blocks editor window alone. Here we have two different sections. The first section is the blocks and the second one is a viewer. So here blocks section, it involves three different types. One is a built-in, component blocks, and the last one is the any component. Built-in blocks are normally, it is added as default, like it contains math block, logical blocks, text block, colors, variables, and procedure. These blocks are added as default whenever you create a new project in MIT App Inventor, whereas the component blocks will be created for the components you are dragging and dropping. Let's say for an example, I'm dragging and dropping a clock component into the viewer screen. So as soon as I drag and drop a clock component in designer window, so the set of blocks will be created for that clock component and will be displayed under this component blocks. And we have one more component, which is any component, which we will be learning in the upcoming session in this beginners level itself. Now we are not going to see any details about it. And yes, we have a viewer screen. So you need to simply drag and drop the blocks for each and every component. This is like the workspace where we are going to assemble the blocks into a program. And on the corner of the viewer screen, you have a trash bin symbol. So when you have added any blocks by mistake, at that time you want to delete the blocks, right? So it will be there are two ways in deleting it. Simply right click, delete the block, or else you can simply drag and drop it into the trash bin. When you have added many number of blocks, at the time you cannot click on each and everything and delete it. So you can simply drag and drop it into the trash bin. And along with it, we will be having one backpack also, which I'll be showing you when we open the MIT App Inventor.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, go ahead.
Ma'am, is the viewer screen, ma'am, the people who are using the app, will they be seeing that?
Uh, See, you're asking about the designer window, right?
No, ma'am, this workspace, ma'am.
This workspace is not, this won't be visible for anything. We are creating in our laptop. So what we are going to do is we will design the components, only the mobile screen. That is we have a viewer section and designer window, right? Here we are going to design, let's say for an example, when you open WhatsApp, you will see the green colored block, the chat messages, the delete button and everything. So we are going to design only how the app must look in this viewer section. That alone will be visible for the users who are downloading the application. The rest of the things whatever we are doing here won't be visible, right? These things will be done only by the developer, that is us, we are going to develop, right? The blocks and everything are not going to be shown. Now coming to the user interface components. So clear with the designer and blocks editor window, right?
No, I need the phone. Yeah. Ma'am, I just have one doubt between that getter blocks, ma'am.
Okay, sure, go ahead. What is the doubt?
Ma'am, that difference between that get. Yes, ma'am. I didn't understand the difference.
Okay, so when we are first, let us know about the setter block. So I'm creating an application. Okay, I'm creating a
Are we going to do the
application.
coding in our
Uh,
phone?
yes, we need to code all these things here because see, when I'm creating an
But should we
application,
start now or are we starting later?
now we need to understand some basics about programming, right? Straight away when I jump to designing the application, you will not understand the basics. It is mandatory, so that in future or even for this level itself you are going to create your own new project. So it is mandatory to learn all these programming parts so that you can create one on your own. Okay, so coming to this difference here, I'm creating an application. Let's say I'm creating a gaming app. Okay, what I'm going to do is as soon as the user installs the application, so I want to set the background color of any particular button to yellow. So these things, the background color, the font size, the text color, everything is I'm going to design. I'm going to design it in the block section, right? So I want it to be my own favorite color yellow, my own favorite font size 20, and text color to blue. Those things are going to be decided by myself. I'm not going to get that input from somewhere, but instead I have defined it as default. But whereas the getter blocks, what I'm going to do is, okay, I changed my mind. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the properties from the user itself. Let the user decide the background color of the button. Okay, as soon as the user opens the application, a pop-up will be shown like select your favorite color. So the user will select the background color like yellow or blue or anything, and user will select the font size, user will select the text color. So I'm giving it an example, but we are not going to design in this way. For understanding it better, I'm taking this example. Okay, so I'm going to get all these input from second party and not going to design as default, right? This is the for getting any input we will be using the getter blocks. For default settings we will be making use of the setter blocks. Clear? So when we design the application you will get to know these things. Okay, don't worry. Yeah. So we have covered designer and blocks window. Now moving on to the different user interface components. So every day we will be learning about some of the components in the designer window. So in today's session we will be learning about the user interface components. We have nearly 14 different user interface components which we'll be seeing it in detail. The first component is the button component. These are basically used to detect the user clicks, right? So we can change the background color, not only the background color but also change the shape of the button. Anything we like, it can be rounded, it can be oval or regular rectangular buttons. But if you do not want to use these regular button, but what you want to do is I want to add an image. Let's say I'm going to include a power button in my application. At that time what you can do, you can simply download any image from Google, and instead of using this regular button you can replace it with the image you have downloaded. See, it is also detects the clicks. You see, and the user presses, this image acts as a button and detects the clicks. Okay, so we have I have used two different event handlers to understand it better. So when the button is pressed, touch down and touch up, which is nothing but pressed and released. When the user presses the button, I want to change the background color of the button to blue, and when the user releases the button, the background color goes back to its normal original, which is red color. See here for an example, when the user presses, it goes to blue and comes back to this normal red color. This will be basically used to give the user the feel that the button is being pressed. So when we don't design this way, like when button is clicked, it won't go back to one color and comes back. So to give the user more feel like he is actually pressing the button, at that time we can make use of the touch down and touch up option. Okay, now coming to checkbox, this is nothing but a box with a tick symbol in it. You can see here the apple symbol is being ticked and the apple symbol is not clicked. So can you give me an example like where you have seen this kind of setup anywhere in your application? Like in order to select some things, we will be making use of this checkbox feature. Can you give some practical example of it? Yes, anyone? Where you have seen this checkbox kind of things?
Ma'am, if we keep a to-do list, ma'am, we can keep a checkbox like that.
Good. So when we are doing any to-do list, we can make use of, or even in settings of games, when you want to on sounds, game zones on, game lights on, those things, in order to select any some list of giving some multiple answers, we can make use of the checkbox feature. So here, for example, when checkbox is changed, when the user has checked in or clicked in, what will happen is if the checkbox checked is true, I want to display the image. If that's or else, which means the checkbox checked is not true. Here you can see the image visibility is set to false. That means the image must be invisible. Here you can see the user has checked in inside the Apple checkbox, so the Apple image will be displayed. Whereas or else, if the user unchecks the checkbox, the image will go invisible. This is what I have programmed here. Now coming to switch component, this is totally similar to the checkbox component. Like this also used to direct the user tab, this toggle between the on and off state, that is tick mark and not tick. So it is identical to checkbox. Only thing is its appearance varies, right? And normally we won't be using any switch box since the checkbox component alone does all the function. So this is one more additional component they have provided just for the appearance sake. Okay, and coming to date picker, this you will be seeing in your calendar apps, or when you want to keep any alarms, you will be seeing this. You would have seen this date picker apps. So this is nothing but the date picker component is nothing but a button. You can see a date picker button will be shown to the user. Once the user presses on the button, it will display a pop-up box similar to this, where it allows the user to select the month, date, and year, and then the user can actually set the date, right? So this is nothing but button. When the button is being pressed, it displays a dialog box containing the date. So here I have added an example like when date picker after date set, this event handler, after the user sets the date, that selected date must be displayed in the label. This is what I have added in the set the labels. One, text to join the day, the day date, the day selected by the date picker app. Month, you can see a day text has been added here, simple day text. Join the day text. After that, the day, whatever the day selected by the user has selected 25, right? So that
Ma'am, how
will
did
be
Friday
displayed here.
appear there, ma'am?
Sorry.
How did Friday appear there? Ma'am, in
Okay.
the December 25, 2015 selection, ma'am, above
Okay.
that it's written Friday.
See, that is a date picker app, right? Yeah, you know, when you go to calendar app, any calendar apps, when you select any particular date, that day will be visible there, right? So this is basically like a calendar app. When you select the days on that particular year, the corresponding day will be displayed. This is similar to the calendar app. Okay, it will automatically detect the day and displays. So what I have added is after this date text, it is going to display the day selected by the user, and after the month text, so it displays month. After that, it leaves a space and display the month in text selected by the user. The user has selected December month, so that will be displayed here. And after that, display a text called year, followed by the year selected by the date picker, which is 2015. So this is what I have programmed here. And coming to time picker, this is totally similar to date picker. The only difference is you can see the time window. Instead of the dialog box with the day, month, and year, it is going to display the time along with the AM or PM. Okay, so after time set, similarly, after time set, it is going to display the label text as alarm set at time picker hour, that is the hour selected by the user, which is 5, and with colon, then the minute selected by the time picker, which is 30 minutes, so alarm set at 5:30. This is what I'm going to display. And coming to image component, this is basically used to display the image component and do some basic animations, which we'll be dealing with in the game apps. So here I'm going to simply display the image. For displaying any particular image, we can make use of image component. I have added a piano image, for example, here. So I have created one program called when image is clicked. When this particular image one, which is the piano image, is clicked, I want to play some piano BGMs like that. So I will add one player component, and I will call the player component to start playing the piano music I have added previously, right? So when the user presses on the piano image, at that time it will play the piano file. You can, like this, you can add n number of component images like drums image or violin image, anything, any images you can add, and you can add the corresponding sound file to the app you're creating, and you can call that particular player component to start, like when piano image is clicked, play the piano music. When drums is clicked, play the drums music. Like that, you can create a simple music app, right? So coming to the label component, label components are simply used to display the text. This is totally similar to the label you are adding in your notebooks, right? Those are nothing but used to display some piece of information. It displays your name, it displays your grade or school what you are, in which you are studying. So for basically for displaying any text, we will be making use of the label component, and there is no event handler for label. So previously we have seen the event handlers, like when image is clicked, when button is clicked, touch down, touch up, pressed, released, got focus. We have many such event handlers for all rest of the components we are using in the MIT App Inventor. But whereas for label component, there is no event handler. What must happen when the label is touched or anything? Okay, we have, this is purely used to display the text alone. It is not going to do any such operation more than that. So here, for example, when button 1 is clicked, I want to change the background color of the label to pink, and change the font size to 20. That is, I have added welcome to young scientists, and also change the height of the label to 40% of its original height. 0.4 multiplied by label height returns the value called 40% of the original label's height. It will get increased to the 40% of original label height. So we have seen, we have added the button components event handler. Please note that there is no event handler for the label component. And coming to list picker apps, this you will be seeing in your quiz based applications, right? Like this is nothing but a button. When the user presses on that button, it is going to display a list of text to the user. Initially, when the user presses the button, it displays the list of options one below another, and allows the user to choose any one particular options. When you are taking any online examinations or online tests, at that time let's say for example you are creating a quiz based app. At that time you want the user to choose any one option, you can make use of this list picker component. But in order to specify the components one by one, you need to specify it under the property section under elements from string text box. Here I'm going to display the options as a comma b comma c d e. So each of the component you can see is being separated by the comma so that it will get displayed one below another. So it need not to be in the character format, but instead we can even give the word formats like apple comma orange or fruits, any kind of fruit. So the those options will be displayed one below another. So what I have programmed here is when list picker, after picking, what must happen when the user selects any one particular option from this list picker component. So after picking, I'm going to display it under the under that button, which is what it is going to display is your selection, that is the default text which is your selection, followed by the option selected by the user. Let's say for an example, the user clicks on the list picker button, it displays the list of options on the viewer screen. So the user selects the option C. So after that it will display the text as your selection followed by C. This is what I have programmed here. Clear? So we have one more component which is list view. This is also similar to the list picker component, but the only difference here is in list picker there is a button component. Only when the user presses the button, it displays the list of options available. Whereas the list viewer component directly displays the list of components on the screen. There is no button, it is not hidden. In simple terms, it is not hidden, it will be directly displayed onto the viewer screen. Here you can see I have added the elements from string. As let's say I'm creating an application for a hotel room. So the user wants to book his stay in a hotel. So as soon as the user opens the application, I'm going to display the list like which kind of room you want to stay, a standard room, a deluxe room or suite room. That information is going to be displayed on the viewer screen. So those words will be specified in the elements from string option separated by commas, right? After picking, that selection will be displayed in the label. Here you can see, let's say for an example, the user has selected the deluxe room. So that selected option will be displayed under the label, which is deluxe, right? So the only difference is it is directly shown, whereas the list picker will be hidden under the button component. And coming to password text box, this is the most similar one which we most frequently seen, you can say. Whenever you want to log in Facebook or Gmail or any banking related applications, you will come across this password text box. This is nothing but a normal text box. The only difference is it hides whatever the information being typed by the user by using the symbol asterisk, just for the safety and security purpose, right? It allows the user to enter the text and hides the text with the help of asterisks. And coming to notifier component, it is used to display the alert messages. Like for an example, when you are newly logging in a website, like when you are typing in your password, username and password and logging in a new laptop, let's say a new laptop, at that time you'll get a pop-up telling you want to save the password for the site permanently. Like that you will get an alert notice. For displaying any alert messages, you will make use of the notifier component. For example, even when you are putting your headset onto your Android smartphone and listening to some music, when you are increasing the volume level, it will display a simple alert message like rising. Do you want to raise it above limit? So do you have you seen those things? Because those are nothing but display the alert messages. It need not to be like it must contain buttons like yes, no or cancel, but simply it can be used to display any message and go. For displaying any alert message, basically we'll be using the notify component. Here, after entering the password text box, after entering, you can see previously we have seen the password text box, right? So in this example, the user types in the password and clicks on enter button. After that, when enter button is clicked, I want a notifier to pop up. asking, displaying the message as do you want to save the password. You can see that same text will be displayed in the alert message, do you want to save the password, with a title telling alert. See, alert. And also I want to add two buttons. First button is yes and the second button as no. And also I want this notifier component to be cancelable, so I am assigning a value of true to it. So one more button has been added telling cancel. So what will happen if I give a value of false to the cancelable? Do you have any idea what will happen if I give a false value to this cancelable?
Ma'am, the cancel button will not be there.
Very good. So the cancel button won't be shown. The user needs to choose either yes or no. There won't be any canceling option, right? So you got a good idea about notifier component, right? And now coming to slider. Slider component is you can see when you want to adjust the brightness in your mobile phone or even in laptops, you would have seen these slider components. Um, like it allows the user to drag from it is nothing but adjustable progress bar, allows the user to drag from left to right or right to left to set the position, to set the correct value. And this slider component has three values needs to be specified under the properties window, which is maximum value, minimum value, and the thumb position, that is default thumb position. So for example, here I'm going to assign I'm going to create a slider progress bar in my application. For this slider progress bar, the minimum value I have created is 0. So I'm going to specify the minimum value as 0 under the properties window. And the maximum value is 100. So I'm going to set the maximum value as 100 under the properties. Now, what we can do is we can add one default value to this app. So that is the 50 thumb position. I have specified as 50, value of 50. So what will happen as soon as the app opens, you can see the default value added is in the in between, which is 50. Here, the user can actually adjust the progress bar, drag anywhere in between.
Ma'am,
So when the user, yes, increases the
what is thumb position, ma'am?
default thumb position, here in between the selection option will be there, right, where by clicking on that you can drag it to left and drag it to right. So you have adjusted this brightness level, right, on your Android smartphone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So when you want to adjust the brightness, you in between you will get one cursor like thing that is said to be the thumb position. It denotes where the
Okay.
value has been selected already, right? So now when the
Yes,
user don't want this default 50 value, so he clicks on that cursor like thing, drag it towards right. So now the value is 68, and that 68 value will be displayed in the label. So a slider, whenever the slider position has been changed, I'm going to display that particular thumb position using a label component. This is the explanation of this program.
Ma'am, you
thank
can
you.
put many
Yeah.
thumb positions, right, ma'am?
Yes.
You
Yes.
can,
What?
ma'am, you can
Yeah.
keep many thumb positions.
Anything, it's up to you. That's why we are creating the properties, right? The minimum, if you don't want the minimum value to be 0, you can create it to 100 to 1000, anything. Those values lies in your hands, that is in your developer hands. Whatever value you want to fix, you can create. Okay. So now coming to the text box component, this is the usual thing we will be seeing in our application, right? So when you are, let's say for an example, you are submitting any online application forms, you are you want to submit one application. At that time you would have come across this text box. This basically allows the user to enter the text here, but for each and every text box a hint will be displayed, like what information needs to be typed in inside this text box, right? So when you are logging into Facebook or any such application similar to that, inside the text box, it would show a hint like email needs email or phone number. A small amount of hint will be displayed in the text box, so we can provide a suggestion to the user. And there are three different types of text box, which is multi-line, numbers only, and read only text box. So what is the difference is when the you can see in the example, the very first text box is the multi-line text box. When this multi-line option is checked, what it will do is it will allow the user to type in any number of lines, like he clicks on enter and type any number of text, any number of lines inside this text box. Whereas when the user when the numbers only property has been checked already, what will do is it will accept only numerical format inputs. For example, in any application form, so I have assigned a text box for filling the date of birth. So the date of birth will be acceptable only in the numerical format. At that time, what we can do is we can check in the properties window itself that this particular date of birth text box is going to be numbers only. So when the user types in any text, it will not accept. It will give a warning like thing like numerical values alone will be accepted, right? And we have read only text box. This we won't be basically we won't be using these kind of text box since for displaying, since this displays only information. For that we can replace it with label, but still we have one such option called read only text box. So when this is checked, what will
In
happen
label
is,
also we can only in label also the users can see, and read only the users can see.
yes, in label alone, in label, the user can only see. He cannot do any operations on that. So similar to that, the read-only text box will be displaying some piece of information. The user cannot click in and actually type any text inside this. So those things are said to be read-only text box. So I have used a different event handler here instead of the text box is click, the usual thing, so that you will get to know the different programming concepts available in MIT App Inventor. What I have added here is got focus and lost focus. So this will be highly helpful when the user is typing in a big application form with the n number of text box in it. At that time, the user may get confused like what are all the informations I have filled and what are all the information I have left, right? So when you are filling the application form, in between one text box, you will get doubt like what needs to be filled. So you will leave the text box, move on to some other thing, go fill and come. So at that time, or else the it needs to display like what are all the text box been already handled and the text box which are not being touched. So in order to display that particular piece of information, we will be making use of the got focus and lost focus. So when the user clicks on that particular text box, what will happen? It will display the background color of the text box as pink. When that text box has been lost focus. So initially, let's say for an example, the user clicks on the very first text box saying "Hello, young scientist." So initially, what it will be is the first text box goes to pink color, the remaining text box will be in white color, that is the default text box background color. So now the user filled in the necessary information like hello young scientist, and then now he comes back to the next text box. So he now clicks on the second text box. So now the second text box 2, that is the text box 2 got focus. So now its background color will change to pink, which automatically means the text box 1, that is the very first hello young scientist text box, has lost its focus. So the background color of the text box will go to yellow color. In this way, whenever the user moves to further text boxes, that selected text box will be in pink and the remaining text box will go to yellow color. So in that way, the user can identify what are all the text box he had made changes, right? So we won't be going in these kind of more detailed things and all, but for it is always good to know all the available features, right? That's why I'm explaining all those things. And now coming to spinner component. The spinner component is similar to the list picker and list viewer component, but what is the basic difference is there won't be any such option already being selected in the list picker or list view, right? Only the user needs to select the application, select the particular option, whereas in spinner component one option will be already selected as a default. Let's say for an example, in your mobile phone, when you want to make some call, and you have a dual sim, that is sim 1 and sim 2. So when you at that time when you are making call, one particular option will be already selected, that is the sim 1 will be selected, and you want to select any other options. At that time you can make use of the spinner component. When you want to add one such similar thing to your application, we can make use of the spinner component. It is basically you dialog with a list of elements like list picker, but the only difference is the first item is already been selected. So similar to that list picker, we need to specify the elements separated by comma so that it will be displayed one by one to the user. And after selecting, I have added a program program like when spinner component after selecting, that selected option will be displayed in the label. So here for example, the user selects the option called to, so that selected option will be displayed in the label as to. Clear? So now coming to the web viewer component, the last and final component of user interface. This will be basically used to view the web page. For example, I'm going to create one application for young scientists. Let's say for an example. So as soon as the user opens the application, I want the website, official website to be displayed on the viewer screen. At that time, what I can do is I can copy the URL of young scientist and put it under property. So what is a URL? Anyone who knows what is an URL can share.
Ma'am, it's like a link.
Yeah, very good. So it is a link, that is a, yes. Yeah, so it is basically a link. So for example, here I'm going to create for young scientists. So I have used the URL, that is the website link, which is http ://youngscientist.in/. So this is the official URL. What I will do, I'll go to that in a web browser, copy that link and paste it under property section. So if you want to include the link for Google or YouTube, at that time what you can do, you can simply copy that particular website's URL and paste it in this home URL under properties. This is basically used to display the web pages, right? So that's it. We have come to end of explaining all the user interface components. Since this is the first day of the session, I'll be more theoretical things are
Ma'am,
involved, but don't worry. When, yeah, please wait. When we move forward,
ma'am,
yes,
ma'am, will we be sharing this in the WhatsApp or some some other social media?
you want this PPT.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm afraid Siddesh, we are not sharing any PPT since we are using it for taking class. Um, but
Ma'am,
if you
can
want
I
the
share
link,
like the
But if we
recorded
forget
PPT?
you want
But if
recordings?
we forget anything,
Yeah, one by one, please. You want recordings? Yes, you can contact Padma if so. And if you need more information like all these components, I'll provide you for learning purpose. If you want, I'll provide a link where you can learn all
Yes,
these
ma'am.
things. Okay?
Thank
No
you.
issue.
Yes, we
Thank
can provide the recordings if you have any questions that you want to see again.
yeah.
You can
So
contact.
if you want to learn about these things more, like about all those components and everything, don't worry. I'll share you the link where you can learn more information about it. Not only these things, but you also learn more information similar to this. Okay. So now we are
Yes,
going
ma'am.
to
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you. So now we are going to
But
create the
teacher,
application.
but
Yeah.
teacher, like, but then if we have any doubt when we're doing it, then can we ask?
Yes, sure. You're
We forget.
welcome to post your queries in the group, or if not, you can share your queries through mail. Like we have some official Young Scientist mail. You can post your doubts in the group, or else you can make use of the ID. In between, if you have any doubts, you're welcome to contact. Right. So now we'll go on and design our application. For designing the app, please open your web browser. That is Google Chrome, and type in as MIT App Inventor. MIT App Inventor in Google search. The very first link is appinventor.mit.edu.
Ma'am,
Yes,
ma'am,
yes, yes.
I don't have Google Chrome. Can I use a Microsoft Edge?
Any other web browser.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
App, is it appinventor.mit? MIT?
Appinventor.mit.edu. You will be
Oh,
redirected to the
I
page
actually have
similar
that on
to
my
this.
phone right now.
Yeah,
have that on my
I asked you people to download MIT AI2 companion app in your mobile phones. I hope you people are ready with this. That there
Did
is
in both. I'm in the website in my laptop and I've downloaded it in my phone also. I think I'm more comfortable using my
Ma'am,
laptop.
the
okay, no problem.
MIT app is asking for a QR code.
Yes, we will be using it when we are testing. Okay, right now first we are going to design it in our laptop. That is, we are going to add some blocks and designer things which we have discussed earlier, right? We are going to do all those things. After that, one day we can do the testing process, like how it will look when the user installs the application on his mobile phone. Okay, so have you all? Okay, so can anyone share your screen? so that I will.
Your screen?
Yeah, Akshara.
Wait, what?
Anyone share your screen so that I'll tell you like
Someone's
what are
already
all the
shared.
things.
I'll just share.
Okay.
I don't know this. There it is. I randomly just shared.
Yes, we can able to see your screen. Tapas.
Are you able to see?
Yeah. Yes, I can see yours. So you have
Yeah.
click on create apps. Everyone please follow the steps. Click on create apps. That is the orange colored button. It will ask you to choose your Gmail account. Select the Gmail account, or else you can type in, if you want to use any other account, you can type in your Gmail ID and password. Yeah, please select any one Gmail account where by using what you are going to create the application.
I don't know.
Yes, you will be redirected to the page telling terms of service. So scroll down to the last. Click on I accept the terms of service. Click on continue. Click on close. Okay. So yeah, please stop sharing. So everyone has completed up to this, right? If you have any doubts,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
can ask. Everyone has completed up to these steps.
No,
Yes.
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Can you repeat
No,
what
if not, share your screen. I'll tell you what to do.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, I'm not yet, ma'am.
Not yet. Okay. Now I'll repeat once again so that you can do. Yeah, Srinidhi has started sharing the screen. Yeah, scroll up. You'll see your orange colored button telling create apps on top. Click on that. Choose the Gmail account. Scroll down to the last and click on I accept the terms of service button. After that, click on continue. Click on close. Okay. So everyone has completed up to this step.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll start sharing my screen.
Yes.
So here I'm going to create a new project, right? So click on the leftmost corner, you have start new project. Click on the button telling start new project and give the project name. Here we are going to create your digital ID, right? So you can type in as my digital ID. So remember, you must not leave any spaces in between. The project name must not contain any spaces. If you don't want to type in continuously like my id, my digital id, if you want to give a differentiation, what you can do is you can make use of the underscore or hyphen anything. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is my digital id, give the project name as my digital id, or else if you want you can give your own project name also. Only thing is it must not contain any spaces in between. So I'm giving the project name as my digital id and click on ok.
Wait, what do we have to do again? Do we have to press start new project?
Yeah, click on start new project. Type in your project name in the new dialog box which is open, not separated by spaces. This is very important step. You must not leave spaces when you are giving the project name. So give your own project name. It can be my ID, my digital ID, or even your own name. And click on OK. After that, you can see the designer window.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have seen this already, right? The 4 different sections, which are palette, viewer, component section and properties. So
Yes, ma'am.
we have learned about all the user interface components, that is button, checkbox, and those things.
Yes.
Yeah. So now what we are going to do is we are going to create a digital ID, right? So for that, initially the screen one is being pressed, right? I want to arrange all the components I'm adding to the center of the screen, right? So what I'm going to do is we have a screen property telling align horizontal. Click on the drop down. We have left, center, and right option. Whatever the components I'm dragging and dropping, I want to get place it in the center of the screen. So select the option called center in horizontal. I hope you know what is horizontal and vertical, right? That is from left to right it is horizontal, and from top to bottom it is vertical. So whatever components we are adding, I want to display it in the center. So align horizontal is center, and similarly align vertical also we have three different options, which are top, center, and bottom. Again select the option center. These are nothing but so that it will look good when the user opens the application, not like all the components being attached to the one more top left corner or top right corner, those things. I want to, just for the good looking purpose, I'm going to align those things to the center. So change the align horizontal option to center, which is 3, and align vertical to center 2. Done?
No way. Where is the line? Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
align
Yeah,
vertical,
under properties.
align.
Under properties, you will see these two options, align horizontal and align vertical.
Yeah, and then what do we do? Do we have to do left, center, or right?
Center. Both the
And
give
then
both
for
the options
align
as center.
vertical, align vertical also center.
Yeah.
Boom. There we go.
So okay, we need to add one icon, right? I hope you people know what is an icon. Can you share? Can anyone share what is an icon for the application?
Ma'am, it's like an image of the application, ma'am.
Good. So when you install any application from Play Store, an image will be displayed on your home screen, right? What are all the apps being available? So that is the first small square image, and icon will be displayed. So we need to add one icon for all the apps we are creating. So for this ID app, you can download any image from Google and use it, right? For using that, go to Google and download and type in like ID icons or anything. ID icons. Go to Google search and type in ID icons. Download any image. ID card like image will be visible, right? You can download any image. I hope you know how to download images from Google, right? So type in as ID icon, download any image from Google. So under properties, you will find one option called icon. This is where we are going to add the icon. And initially, we didn't specify any icon for the app. So it will be displaying as none. Now we are going to upload the image which we downloaded.
Ma'am, how to download icons from
Yeah,
Google?
go to Google. Go to Google. Open Google. So have you opened the Google search? Yeah, unmute yourself. Who was that? Asking doubt so that we can finish it fast and
That.
Siddharth.
Hey, what
Yeah.
do we have to do now?
Yeah, Siddharth. So open Google search and type in as ID icons.
Not so that
Yes. Yes, I did.
You did.
to the back.
And
So what do we have to do
download.
now? Like,
Yeah, please wait. Please wait.
what do we kind of have to do now?
You have downloaded this image. Yeah, everyone has downloaded the image. Siddharth, Tapal, everyone. If not, please follow the steps. Go to Google search and type
Downloaded, ma'am.
downloaded, type in as ID icons. So you have a list of images. Whatever image you want, you can download. Right click and select save image as. Give a name like whatever name you want to save, where you want to save, like desktop or in downloads, anywhere select that. Give it a name, download that image. And under properties, in the designer window of the My Digital ID app, under properties, you have one such option called icon. And initially the none option is selected, right? So click on that text box. You have three different buttons: upload file, cancel, and OK. Select the button which is telling upload file. A pop-up will be shown. Click on choose file and select the image which you have recently downloaded for icon, the ID icon image. Select that and click on open. So as soon as you click on open, that image name will be added here, that is ID icon.png. Click on OK. So now the icon none has been changed to ID icon.png, that is the name I have specified for the downloaded image, which means the icon has been added. Okay, I'll repeat once again. Download the image from Google, save it anywhere in your device. Under properties of screen 1, you will find one option telling icon. Below the close screen animation option, you have one called icon. Click on that. Click on upload file. Click on choose file. Select the icon which you have downloaded. Click on open and click on OK. After that, you can see the icon name has been changed from none to ID icon, whatever the name you have given. Yes, completed. Yeah, now we'll proceed to the next step. We are going to add our own image, right? So I hope you remember what component can be used to display the image. Under user interface, we have an image component. That is the very fourth option. Drag and drop an image component into the screen. Drag, click on that image option from user interface, drag and drop it into the viewer screen. As soon as you drop it, you can see it will get arranged to the center of the screen. That is both in horizontal and vertical wise, it gets arranged to the center. And I'm going to rename it. Initially, it has been named as image1 under component section. But when I'm creating an application with more number of the same components, that is the same image component, it will be difficult to identify for which image I need to program and all. So I'm going to rename it under component section. So make sure image1 has been selected. Click on the rename button under components window and give the new name as my picture. And click on OK. Give the new name as my picture and click on OK. So that I can program well in block section, like when my picture is clicked, do these things. Like that I can program. So rename it under component section as my picture. Under properties for my picture, the very first option is clickable. You need to check in inside this checkbox. Clickable. Only then the user can actually click on the image and then it will play the sound file. Play your own voice telling, hi, it's me. If this clickable is not, yeah.
I don't know. I somehow I automatically left the meeting, and then I don't know what to do now.
No issues, Tapas. So yeah, now under user interface, drag and drop the image component and place it in the viewer screen.
Where is user interface?
Under user interface, the fourth option is
Oh,
image.
there it is. Okay.
Yeah. Drag and drop it into the viewer screen And under components, you will find one button called rename. Click on that. Give the new
There is
name as
components.
under components. Image 1 is there, right? Click on
Oh,
rename.
there. Yeah.
Rename. Give the new name as my picture and click on OK.
Wait, where's the rename actually?
Rename is under
Oh, there
components.
it is. Okay. Oh yeah.
Rename it as my picture and under
Oh yeah.
please click inside the clickable
Rename
option.
it as picture.
Rename it as my
Okay, it's
picture.
called. So is it like the old? So is it like? Is it my picture? So is it like
Yeah, this
old
is
name
there.
is?
Inside this, yeah, old name is image 1 and new name is my picture.
Oh, okay.
So if you don't check in inside this box, what will happen is the user cannot actually press the image. Even when the user press, it will not detect clicks. So we need to check in inside this clickable box so that when the user presses on the image, it will play his own sound file. Okay. So under picture, so we need to change the height and width of the image. I want the image to occupy 50% of the screen, both height and width wise. So click on height and we have many options, right? We can specify in pixels or percent, anywhere we like. So we have one more option which is fill parent. When I give fill parent, you can see the image is occupying the entire device screen. I don't want that to happen. I want the image to occupy 50% of the screen. So click on height and you will see one text box for percent. Click inside this and give the value as 50% so that it occupies 50% of the screen in height wise. Also
Hey,
along
how
width
do you
wise, yes.
do that? The percent is 50%.
Yeah, did you click on make sure my picture has been selected under component section and we have one right under properties, you will see the height
Okay.
and also check in inside the clickable box. Did you check in inside the clickable box?
And the,
After that,
hey,
click
where
on
is
the
the clickable box?
under properties. Under properties window for my picture component. See, make sure my picture has been selected under components. If screen 1 or any other thing is selected, the properties
Okay.
will be different. For my picture, for image component alone, these properties will be visible. Make sure my picture is selected and under components, click on the clickable checkbox. Yeah, done.
Wait, can I just share the screen maybe? Then
Yeah,
maybe a
please
bit
share
more
your screen.
easy. Oh,
Yeah, click on the clickable under properties, uh, click inside this checkbox which is clickable, and also you have changed the height to 50%. That's good. Now you need to change the width to 50%. I'll do that after sharing my screen. Yeah, click inside the person, type in as 50. Yeah, that's it. So we are going to change the width. Similarly, when I give width as fill parent, you can see it is occupying the entire screen. I don't want that to happen. I want it to occupy 50%. So I'm going to give 50% for width so that the image occupies 50% of the screen along height and width. And I'm going to select the picture, that is your own picture. Click on the picture option. Initially it is none. Click on upload file. Click on ship file.
where is that none? Oh, upload
You
file.
will
Oh, yeah.
when you click inside this text box telling none,
Upload
upload
any
your
picture.
own picture which we have specified as prerequisite. Yeah, the candidate's image is must, right? So upload your own, yeah,
What
your own
mine?
image.
Yeah.
Use that image.
Oh, okay.
select that your own image and click on OK. So as soon as you click on OK, you must see your own image displayed on the screen. Can you see
Wait,
your own image? Can you?
not there. I don't see it at all.
Ma'am, can you give me a minute, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. Share your screen. Who is not seeing your image? Share your screen.
Tapas, you can share your screen.
There we go, and just like that. So then what do
That's
you do
okay.
with this?
That's
Then
good. You
we
don't
have
need to do anything. Now scroll up. I'll tell you what to do. Scroll up. You have one picture option, right? Click on that. Click inside the none.
wait,
Under
what?
properties, we have changed the height and width, everything. Now we need to change the picture. Click inside the none. Select the image you have added. Yeah. Click on OK. Right?
Oh, there
Okay.
it is. Oh, you can move it. You can literally move the image.
So have you all completed up to this step? If you have any doubts, please unmute.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, I need to download my image, ma'am.
Download your image. Yeah, please do it fast.
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am, can we also use Google Drive, ma'am?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, ma'am.
And also I want to specify this thing. So guys, whatever we are posting in prerequisite, please be ready with that. Okay. So in upcoming session, we'll be sharing some files in prayer itself, prior to starting the session. It will be time consuming when you don't have those prerequisites, so a lot of time will get wasted. In order to avoid that, please be ready with the prerequisite before entering the session. Okay, so now we will be we need a player component to play the sound file, right? It is this when the user presses on this image, it is going to tell you play your own mp3 file telling hi, it's me, or followed by your name. For that we need a player component. So under palette window, first we have used the image component from the user interface, right? So now what I'm going to do is click on media. Under the palette window, the third option is media. Initially it is user interface, right? Now we will leave all the user 14 user interface components. Scroll down, you have layout and media, drawing and animation, many more components in palette window. In that, select
Oh,
media.
ma'am, can you repeat, ma'am?
Hello?
Yeah,
Please.
under palette window, please select media. You have completed these image steps.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now under palette window, click on media. Initially, user interface will be selected and all the 14 components present in user interface will be displayed. Other things, rest of the things will be hidden. Now we are going to media components. Player component will be available inside the media component. So click on media. So the list of available components in media will be displayed. In that media, the fourth option is a player component. We need this player component to play your own voice clip. Drag and drop the player component into the viewer screen. As soon as you drag and drop, it is an please note that this is a non-visible component. This player component will not be displayed on the screen, mobile screen, but instead below the mobile, it will be displayed as non-visible component player 1. It is going to play in the background. There won't be any player kind of symbol or anything will be displayed to the user, which is a hindrance, right? This is going to do some background operation of playing that mp3 file. So this is a non-visible component. So we don't need to rename it since we are using only one player component, but we need to add the source file. That is which sound file needs to be played. So under properties, you have one option called source. Under properties, there is an option called source. Click on that. Select upload file. Select choose file. And select your own voice clip, which is in MP3 or MP3 format. Click on OK. So you must see hi, it's me.mp3 and click on OK. And now you must see the source name has been changed from none to the MP3 file you have added. Completed adding source?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we need to
No, I
display
didn't.
them. You
I
did?
didn't.
Okay, so click on make sure player one component is selected. Under component section, go to properties, click on the text box under source, click on upload file, click on choose file, and select your own audio file. Click on open and click on OK. You must see the source name must be changed from none to the MP3
Ma'am,
file. Yeah,
someone named Ramya Ramesh, she's chatting. Ma'am, my
yeah, I see that.
it is in the MP4 file. Is that okay?
MP4 is
Someone named.
actually in video format, right? For playing the video file, you need a
Wait,
video
where is
player
source
component.
again? Wait, where is
MP4,
source?
yeah, one by one, please.
Yeah, please
Ramya,
wait, guys.
MP4 won't be there.
Where is this?
MP4 is not suitable because that is a video file. Here we are using a sound player component, right?
Where is the source again? I don't.
Under player components, click on player one. Tapas, right?
What?
Yeah,
Wait,
Tapas.
where?
Under component section, make sure player one component is being selected.
But where is player one?
You didn't add player component. Okay. Can you share your screen? I'll tell you what to do. Yeah, Ramya, what you can do is you can record your own voice clip. A recorded video clip won't be useful here. So what you do is after completing the session, you record your own voice clip, and later you just now note down the steps. Later you try it on your own. Okay, follow all these steps. Only thing you need to change the source file, right? That you can do. Yes, Tapas. So scroll down.
Oh, okay.
Scroll down a bit. Yeah, scroll up, click on the media component. Scroll up, you'll find the media component on the left side. That is under palette window. Below layout, you will find the media. There is a player component, right? The fourth option. Drag and drop the fourth option, which is player component, inside the media. Under media,
Can I
there
go
is
to
a player is there. Drag and drop it in the
Ma'am,
viewer
can
section.
you repeat once again?
Wait, oh,
From
on the picture?
Yeah, on the picture, drop it. Since this is a non-visible component. Yeah, now click on source under properties. Click on upload file. Upload file. Upload your own voice clip, which we
Oh,
display.
okay.
Okay. Upload your own voice clip telling hi, it's me, or anything.
What?
We have specified in group itself, like yeah. Click on OK.
And then press this, right? And
It's
then
not added.
press source and then like.
Now it has been added already. Yeah, good. Click outside.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. So have you all completed up to this step?
Yes, ma'am.
So if they click on the picture, then it will say.
Yes, one
The
in
voice?
not now, but when you install it on your phone, Android phone, it will play your own voice clip. So now we need to display some more information about you, right? For that, we will make use of the layout component. Click on layout. The very first option is horizontal arrangement. Drag to the image. Under layout, the very first option is horizontal arrangement. Today we are going to add only your name. Okay. So drag and drop the horizontal arrangement. So basically, when we drag and drop any number of components, it will get arranged one below another. But in this case, I want to display a name button followed by a label displaying the information. It needs to be placed side by side, not one below another. So for displaying side by side, we can make use of this horizontal arrangement, which we'll be seeing it in detail in tomorrow's session. Okay. So for now, as of now, what we are going to do, click on layout under palette, drag and drop the horizontal arrangement.
Completed, ma'am.
Completed.
Wait, where is
Okay.
the where is the
Under layout,
horizontal place?
under layout. So previously
Layout?
we have selected media, right? Now under palette, please select layout.
Oh. And then we have to do horizontal
Yeah,
arrangement.
drag and drop the horizontal arrangement into the screen.
And
And
is it on the
below the image. Below the image.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Just screen and click on it, and then what do we do?
Now inside this horizontal arrangement, we are going to add a button component as well as a label component. So those things we already know, those things will be available under user interface. So click on user interface under palette window. Click on user interface under palette window. The very first option is button. Drag and drop the button. See, you will see one blue line. When you drag it into the viewer screen, you will be seeing some blue line. Okay, this blue line indicates where this particular component is going to get placed. Okay, that is whether you want to place it above this image, below the image, or inside this horizontal arrangement. It will get indicated by using this blue line, right? So now I want to place it inside this horizontal arrangement. So you can see the blue line is indicated inside this horizontal arrangement. Now place it.
That's text for button 1, so we have to
Yeah, text
rename
for
it.
button. We don't need to rename it under components, but we can, since we are using only button component here. But what we can do is we can change its properties. Like I want to change the background color of the button, right? Under properties, instead of the default color, I can select any one of my own choice. I can select yellow. I can select pink, green, blue, anything of your
I
choice.
can select any color.
Any color
Oh.
of your choice.
Blue
And
is red.
what happened to horizontal arrangement, ma'am?
So have you added horizontal arrangement?
Yes, ma'am.
So now what you need to do is click on user interface under palette window.
The face.
Drag and drop the button component. Drag the button component. You will see one blue line. Can you see the blue line? Yeah,
Yes.
now place the button inside this horizontal arrangement. Now you will see the blue line inside the arrangement.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, yeah, now drop it.
For button 2, we have to also do that also.
I'm doing it just for him. Just for Siddharth. Since he asked out, I have done it. Now what you need to do
Okay,
is
I deleted the text for button 2.
okay, no issues.
Yes.
So now you need to change the background color of button 1. I am changing it to one color. If you want, you can change any other color.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Ma'am, we kept one box, ma'am. In that box, we kept the text for button 1.
Yes.
The box, could we keep the text for button 1?
Sorry.
We kept the text for button 1 inside one box.
Yes.
If we didn't keep the box, could we keep the text for button 1?
Yes, still we can keep. I'll tell you what will happen after completing this. Okay. So why we are adding a horizontal arrangement is we'll be knowing it soon. Okay. Now just follow the steps. I'll tell you how. So now we have added button one, change its background color. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I don't want this text for button one, but instead this button display as name. Display the text as name. Right. Under properties, we have changed the background color already. Now scroll down, you will find a text option with a text box in it. Inside this, whatever the text been already specified, that is text for button one will be displayed. Now I'm going to change it as name. So click inside this text box and type in as name in capital letters. As soon as you give a new text and click outside the blocks, outside this box, you can see the text for button 1 has been changed to the name we have added, which is name in capital letters.
Wait, how do you change like that? How do you change the background for the text for button one thingy?
Make sure button 1 has been selected under components. Under properties, the very first option is background color, right? Click on that.
What? Where is that? Wait, is it for button one?
Yes, for button 1.
And then change it to anything.
Change the
Okay.
background color of your choice.
Okay,
Scroll
done.
down. Scroll down, you will find one option called text. Click inside the text box.
Oh, oh yeah.
Delete
Then
everything
put your
and give
name.
the new name. Yeah, name.
I put tapas.
No, just give it as name.
Oh,
Name in capital letter. We'll add one more component to display your name. Okay. So now what we are going to do is we need to add a label component to display this, to display your own name, right? So under user interface, the fifth option is label. Drag, place this label component. See, you must not see any blue line. Make sure, because you are going to place it beside the name,
wait, where? Oh, label.
inside
Okay, and
this
then where do you put
horizontal
the label?
arrangement box, right? So exactly place it in this name box we have added previously. So for this label component, we can increase the font size. Initially, you can see it is occupying only 50% of the horizontal arrangement, is not appealing. So I'm going to increase its font size under properties. Make sure label 1 has been selected. Change the font size to 20. This is similar to the one
Where is
we
the
are.
label? Where is the
Have you added the
wait?
label
What do we do
component?
with the label?
Drag
Yeah,
and drop the
but where do we
label
put the label?
component beside name inside this box, that is the name box.
What? It's going down, but then it's going down.
Yeah, share your screen, I'll tell you what to do. See, you need to okay, click on the name. Click on the name. No, not that. The name inside this viewer screen. Drag inside this viewer screen. You have added one name button, right? Viewer screen. That is the mobile screen. Yeah, you have added a name button, right? Drag and drop the name button inside this box. Put it inside the box. Yeah. Now click on the label component. Yeah, drag and put it in the same box. Place it. Yeah, good. So now we are share.
So I make the font size big.
Change the font size to 20. Click. Make sure label is selected. Increase its font size to 20. Now I'm instead of text for label 1, I'm going to change the label as your own name, right? You can give your own name as, yeah, please wait. I'm going to give as young scientist. You can type in your own name. Yes, who was that?
Srinidhi, ma'am.
Yeah, Srinidhi.
Not able to put the box, ma'am.
Share your screen, I'll tell you. So you have not added horizontal arrangement. Click on layout. Click on layout. Yeah, under palette window, click on layout. Drag and drop the horizontal arrangement below your image. Okay, no problem. So put it inside it. Similarly, the label. Now increase the font size and change the text. Right. So in the same way, you can add. Why someone has asked previously, like why we need this box. If we directly drag and drop the button, it will still be visible. The only difference is I'll show you. You don't need to follow the steps. I'm just showing you for reference. So what will happen is I can place the components one by one only. I cannot place it side by side. Okay. To avoid that only, I have added a horizontal arrangement component. Okay, since I need to display display my name beside the name button, I have added one horizontal arrangement layout, and inside this I can place any number of components side by side. Since I want to display my name by the side of the name button, I have used one horizontal arrangement. Clear? So have you all completed this designer window?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we'll proceed to the blocks. This is very simple blocks. We'll finish it off soon. So what is the thing we need to program here? When this image, when my picture image has been clicked by the user, I want to play the sound file of "Hi, it's me," your own voice clip. For that, so go to the corresponding block. When my picture is clicked, so go to that my picture, go to the component blocks and find the component called my picture. Click on my picture. You will find the event handler called when my picture is clicked. Drag and drop it into the viewer screen. So for what component
Ma'am,
I'm going to
I
program,
don't see
first
anything
decide.
like that, ma'am.
Yeah, please wait. First decide what component we are going to program. So here I'm going to program for the my picture. When that picture is clicked, sound needs to be played. So under block section, okay, first, on the rightmost corner you will find a button called blocks. Right now we have designed the entire designer window. On the top right corner you will find blocks option. Click on that. You will go to the blocks
Where do
window.
you, excuse me, teacher, where do you
Yeah,
change like
I'll tell
the,
you. On the top
you have
right
to change
corner,
the, no,
click
for
on
text,
blocks.
no,
Yeah,
for
wait,
text,
please
like
wait.
for the name
Wait,
and then
Tapal,
like,
wait, please wait. Yeah, what is your issue?
like, where do you, oh no, wait, how did the label got deleted? Wait a minute. Like, do you have to change the text of, for label?
Yes, you need to change it under properties. Make sure label 1 has been selected under components. Under properties, scroll down. You will find one option called text, right? Initially, it is text for label 1. Click inside the text box. The same procedure we are going to repeat as we did for button. Type inside your own name, like for example, Tapas. Instead of
Wait, what
young
just
scientist,
happened? Why is the label looks so tiny? Like, what happened to it?
you need to change the font size for label.
Oh,
Did you change it under properties? Initially, it is 14, right?
oh, okay. I
Increase its
think the
font size.
text. Oh, the text. there was nothing inside, so then it looked so tiny. I couldn't even see it.
Okay,
Okay,
now
but then what do you have to change the text to?
type in your name and click outside the box. Type in your name in the text and click outside the box. You must see your name has been added there.
Okay.
Okay, now click on blocks to the top right corner. Click on my picture under block section. So
My
we are going
picture.
to
I have to press my
under screen
picture.
1, select my picture. The very first block is when my picture is clicked. This is the event handler block, right? So drag and drop this when my picture is clicked into the viewer screen. When my picture is clicked,
Now, how do you?
yeah,
How do you bring it into the
drag
viewer
and drop.
screen?
Drag and drop.
No, but how?
Sorry.
I can't. But how do you do it? I can't.
Just pull
I'm
it.
trying to,
Just
but then
Share your screen, Tapas.
I'm trying to put it over here, but then I can't.
Yeah, select the blocks section. Scroll up. Top right corner, you'll find one blocks button. Right click on that. Now select my picture under block section.
Oh, okay.
Okay, my picture.
Oh,
My picture option. Select, drag and drop the first event handler, which is when my picture is clicked. Okay, so when my picture is clicked, I want to start playing the sound file. For that, click on player component. The player component alone, we have added a source file, right? We have added our own
where is
mp3.
player
See, wait, Tapas. I'll tell you what to do. Let me give you some time to explain. So
Oh,
here
okay.
we have added the source file, that is your own voice clip, in the player component, right? So I am going to call the player component to start playing the music when the image is clicked. So we have added one event handler called when my picture is clicked. Now what we need to program, we simply need to call the player component to start play the music. So go to that corresponding component, which is player. Under block section, click on player 1. So we previously we selected my picture, right? Now click on player 1 under the block section, that is the component blocks. You will find 4 different purple colored blocks called player, pass, stop and vibrate. Now we are going to start playing the music when the image is clicked. So select the second procedural block telling call player 1 start. Drag and connect it to when my picture is clicked. When my picture is clicked, I'm going to call the player component to start playing the music. Simple. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now that's it. We have created our digital ID. If you want to add any more list, like if you want to add some grade, subject, or any more details, what we can do is you can simply drag and drop one more horizontal component and follow the same steps like adding one button, adding one label, and do all those steps you want. So now let us finish up to this. Now we will learn how to test and debug this app and how to install this application to our mobile phone, right? For this, first, before installing any application, the first step we need to do is we need to test our application. For that, open MIT AI2 companion app on your Android smartphone. And before doing that, make sure your the laptop in which you are designing as well as your Android phone in which you are going to do testing, both devices must be connected to some third Wi-Fi network. Remember, see, for example, not to the Android device. I have a laptop and I'm going to test in my Android phone. The laptop must not be connected to the device hotspot, but instead it can get connected to a broadband or else to another Android device, another idle Android device. Okay, so which means that both the laptop and the Android phone in which I'm going to do testing must be connected under the same network. And after that, open MIT AI2 companion app on your Android smartphone. MIT AI2 companion on your Android smartphone. In that, you will buttons will be shown like connect with code or scan QR code or something like that, right? Go to that screen, open MIT AI2 companion. Now click on connect in your laptop. On your laptop, we have my projects, connect, build, settings, and help and tab, right? So in this, you can see my screen for reference. So here, click on connect drop down and select the very first option telling AI companion. Please follow the steps carefully. You can see my screen for reference. On your laptop, click on connect drop down and select the very first option telling AI companion. A QR code will be generated on your computer screen similar to this. Do you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now I hope you people has open MIT AI2 companion in your device. Now click on scan QR code, the blue colored button on your device. Click on scan QR code, your camera will get open. Now scan the QR code shown on your device screen. You'll get progress bar after scanning this QR code. Please wait till it gets 100%. After that,
Hello, I keep on disconnecting. Like, what do I do? It's a big
you need to
problem.
check your device. So did you connect it under same Wi-Fi network, Tapas?
Yeah, but then I keep on disconnecting. I don't know why. It happened to me like 3 times already.
Check your internet connection.
Check your internet connection, Tapas. So others, what you need to do is scan the QR code.
What I mistakenly pressed something, and then now the player thing is gone. No, what did I do?
Please wait, Tapas. I'll solve your out at the last. Okay. So others, what you can do is you can scan the QR code. You will see this
I'm
thing.
waiting to get till 100 mark.
Yeah, wait. So you must see is what you'll be seeing is you'll see the screen similar to the one we have added in the designer window. That is your own image, the name, and followed by your name. What you have created, those things will be displayed on your Android smartphone once the 100% gets completed. Can you see that, everyone?
Yes.
Now click on your own image and see whether your sound file is getting played. That is your own voice clip. Which we have added as a source. Is that working?
It's getting played.
It's getting played. Good. So which means you have created your app 100%. Now we will learn how to install this application on your Android phone. So for now we have done testing. It works perfectly. So now what you want to do is you want to share this application to your friends, right? After creating the application, you want to show it to please wait. You want to show this to your friends like what this is the application I have created. Please install it in your smartphone so that we can use it together, right? For that purpose, we need to build an APK file and install this application. So usually people will be posting it in Play Store, right? The app they have created after doing the designing, development process, after doing testing, what they will be doing is they will be posting it in the Play Store, right? For that, the very first step is we need to build an APK file. For that, click on Build. You can see my laptop screen. Click on Build and select the very first option telling App provide QR code for APK.
Teacher, can you help?
Yes.
Really need help.
I accidentally clicked the second option, ma'am. Is it okay?
No, you need to select the first option.
How to cancel it, ma'am?
Please wait till the progress bar gets completed. After that, you can close it and reset.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not
When is the class ending?
Yes,
When is the class ending actually?
after this process.
Ma'am, it's not
But
working.
what do? I need help. Can I just share the screen to show you actually what happened?
Yes, Tapas, actually you had it out, right? So that, after completing all the steps, you can share, some of the people can leave, right? After that, I'll come to you and clear your doubts. So please wait, it will get some time since we have added files, media files, images and everything. It takes some time to create an APK file. Creating an APK file takes time. So wait for some time till it gets 100%.
Ma'am, the audio is not coming for me, ma'am.
Audio is not coming. Okay, wait, I'll check your out at last. Okay. Those who are having doubts, please wait. After that, you will see a QR code displayed on your screen. Again, you need to follow the same steps. That is, click on scan QR code in your MIT AI2 companion app and scan the QR code generated on your laptop screen and click on install. It will show a alert notice telling, do you want to install this application? Please select yes and install the application.
Ma'am, I
Yep.
connected with the code, the 6-digit code.
Yeah, wait, I'll come to that, Siddharth. So after scanning the QR code and installing the application, you can see that app has been installed onto your Android device with the icon you have downloaded and added in from Google, right? First, we have added an icon for our app. So make sure on your home screen that app has been added. So you can start using that application. If you want, you can share the same APK file to your friends through WhatsApp or anything. You can share that file so that your friends can also use that. Instead of posting in Play Store, in this simple way we can share this file, because posting in Play Store is cost consuming. We need to pay some amount to Google, get approval, and after that only we can post. But now, for simple testing and debugging process like this, we can share it with our friends. Yes, one by one, shall I? If it works properly, you can leave the session. If not, please stay in the session, get clear your doubts, and then we'll finish off. Okay. For those this is working, you can leave. Yeah. So yeah, come to the doubts part. Who are having doubts, one by one, you can share. Unmute and speak.
Ma'am, the audio is not coming for me, ma'am.
Audio is not coming. Yeah, share your screen, Srinidhi. Click on my picture under component section. Click on OK so that it will get click on OK so that this will get displayed. Yeah, click on my picture under component section. Component section. Yeah, click on my.
Working, ma'am. Can I leave?
Yeah, if you complete, if it works properly, you can leave the session.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, bye. Yeah, click on my picture. It is clickable. Good. So now click on player one. Source has been added. Okay, go to the blocks. Go to the block section.
இங்க பாருங்க இங்க என்ன இருக்குன்னு பாத்துக்கோங்க.
What is the file format you have added, Srinidhi? For source, as a source, which file format you have added? Is it MP3?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I've added this, ma'am. Ma'am, can we actually do through Google Drive, ma'am? Since it's not coming for me to.
Ma'am, it worked, ma'am.
It worked. Okay, great. You can leave the session, Siddharth. Yeah, please. See,
Can you help me?
yeah, wait, Tapas, I'll come. Srinidhi, what is the problem here is you have added a different file format. It is not MP3. Okay. So what you can do is you simply record your own voice clip. Try to add in any MP3 format.
Okay,
I hope you know the procedure, right? Click on upload file and add the new MP3 format file. After that, it will start working when you follow the steps. Okay. Yes. Next, yeah, Tapas, share your screen.
Oh, okay.
Yes. One by one.
Bye, ma'am.
Hi, Srinidhi.